Um, so this is the art club. The art club is 4 historic buildings located on Thomas Street, which is a very tiny street on College Hill, right next to the First Baptist Church. Basically, all of Thomas Street is the Providence Art Club. In our 4 buildings here, we have studios and galleries and a cafe, and we have an art collection. We have all kinds of different things going on. And of course, as Nancy was saying at the beginning of this, it's one of the most recognizable streetscapes in Providence, I think, but so many people don't really know what goes on behind our big green door, basically. Um, so a little bit about the art club. We were founded in 1880 to promote art culture. The founders originally had this goal that we would host 2 exhibitions a year. We now host 3 exhibitions a month, basically. So we well exceeded that goal on behalf of the founders. Um, we were founded by 10 men and 6 women, which is a first. We're the first arts organization of our kind where women were included as full and equal members from the very beginning. And Edward Mitchell Bannister, who's an important African-American landscape painter, was also one of our founders. He was the first person to be given a silhouette, which is a big distinction at the club, and he was the second person to sign on to our constitution. The goal of the club from the beginning, and the goal that we still work towards, is to bring together artists and collectors and amateurs, professionals who have an interest in art, all kinds of different people around this central cause of art culture in the city of Providence and beyond. The club is made up of 4 historic buildings. Within our properties that you saw in that first slide there, we have 3 unique gallery spaces. We have our dining facilities. We have a very rustic and lovely cafe. And then we have our founder's room, which is like a very bright and white room, very nice. We have our Angels Lane bar. We have 2 studio classrooms. We have a sort of traditional 3rd floor skylit studio. And then we also have a dedicated print studio. And we just purchased a new Takash printmaking press for that room. And then also on site, we have 15 private artist studios that we rent to our members that contribute to that, to our facility. Right now, we have over 630 members. 250 of those are individuals that we call exhibiting artist members, and those are the people who get to exhibit in the galleries primarily. We also do a national open show every year. We do other exhibitions that include non-member artists, but by and large, most of our exhibitions feature our elected exhibiting artist members. The benefits of being an exhibiting artist member specifically are that exhibiting artist members get to have a group show, and that's a show that includes between 2 and 4 artists. Artists are eligible for one of those every 2 years. Now, current scheduling conflicts due to COVID aside, in a normal exhibition cycle, in the average year, we almost never have to reject anyone. Like when someone applies for their show, they basically get it for the most part. But obviously, in our current circumstances, we've had to move some things around. And then artist members are also eligible for a solo exhibition in our Dodge House Gallery, which is I'll show you a photo of that, every 5 years. And for the most part, we are able to honor that as well. Sometimes we have to ask people to wait a year or 2 for their show, but we are pretty much on track for that. Every year we do 2 members exhibitions. We do one in the fall and one in the spring with prizes. And each show has about $5,000 in prizes. And we tend to get very good jurors for our in-house members exhibitions. So in those shows, each exhibiting artist member gets to submit 1 piece. And then we have prizes ranging from honorable mentions all the way up to $1,000 best in show. We typically get local gallery professionals, artists, curators, people like that to jury those shows. And we tend to have about 150 pieces in each of those exhibitions. So that gives you a sense of how many artists participate. Our members also get a discount on applying to our national juried exhibition, which the call for that is up right now. Our national open juried exhibition, I mean, I think I can say this pretty confidently, is one of the most popular national juried shows, certainly in the Northeast, if not in the country. Our past jurors have included the chair of the American Art Wing at the Museum of Fine Arts Boston. Last year, we had the director or the chief curator of the Yale Center for British Art, and this year we have a curator of prints and drawings from the Art Institute of Chicago. So we continue to grow that tradition as well. In the average year, we also host a number of other open members exhibition opportunities. And this includes our Little Pictures Show and Sale, which is the largest and oldest exhibition of its kind in the United States. In that show, like this year, we sold over 500 pieces of art in a month and a half. And that's about what we do every year, is a little over 500 objects. And so that's a really fun opportunity. We also do a show dedicated to our classes every year. Every year we also do a new members exhibition. And then typically we also do a special members show in the summer. And we usually find a time during the year to do another member show. Like this year in the fall, we did an all members exhibition. And just now, like just today, we took down a member show that was dedicated to small work. And this summer, we're going to do a special photo exhibition for members, and we're going to do a big picture show where there's a size minimum to be in our big picture show. What are some benefits that all of our members enjoy? Every year, we do over 70 classes and workshops at the art club. Most of those are open specifically for members and for member spouses. Member spouses can sign up for classes as well. Some of our classes, like our summer workshops, we do open them to the public, but members get first dibs, basically. So if a class sells out with members, then no one else can take it. We also do we do that class and staff show that I mentioned in January. Any member, regardless of whether they're an exhibiting artist, can participate in that. And in the average year, depending on how busy we are with classes, we usually let people have about 2 to 3 objects in that show. And that's a really fun opportunity for people to share things they've made in class over the last year. And the work in it is very, very good. You actually can't, when you see it, you couldn't tell that it would be that was a class and staff show for the most part. Our cafe serves lunch on weekdays. We also do a lot of special evening events. Obviously, over the last year, some of these things have been curtailed, but we're beginning to move back into a sort of normal. And then we have our Angels Lane bar, which is open for cocktails in normal times during the evening. Hopefully, we'll be back to doing that very soon. And then members also enjoy the privilege of sponsoring special events. So if you or a loved one wanted to have a wedding or a bat mitzvah, or you name the event, we've done the event, whatever you want to do. And then we also do a lot of corporate fundraisers and trainings and stuff like that as well. And we have an excellent cafe staff. We have an executive chef and a dedicated dining room manager. I mean, we have a great staff at the art club as well. And then we do a lot of other cultural programming, musical nights. We bring in pianists to play we have a beautiful vintage antique Steinway from 1889 that we purchased new in 1889. And we bring in wonderful musicians to play that. We also bring in special speakers. And again, all of those sort of programs, for the most part, tend to be member only or member first. Over the course of last year, we've been doing a lot of Zoom programming. So we've been doing a lot of programming for the general public as well. And then, of course, last but not least, probably the most wonderful benefit of being a member is that we have free and ample on-site parking on the east side, where parking is at such a premium. So that's another special benefit of being a member. Just to walk you through a couple of our spaces so that you can see them if you've never been to the club before. This is our Maxwell Maze Gallery. We moved into this space in 1885, and we've been hanging shows here ever since. Some, wonderfully notable people showed here. In the late 1890s, the Vos family loaned us a collection of French paintings to show in this room. So like Camille Corot's were shown in this room, Daubigny, if you're a fan of Daubigny, Delacroix, so there's all kinds of like those sort of things in our history, and members enjoy the opportunity to show here too. It's a beautiful, the photo sort of does it justice. It's a really beautiful, beautiful room. Then we have a small gallery off of that we call our Mary Castle Novo gallery. This sort of smaller room is our third gallery space, and we use this primarily as an extension of that larger gallery, but then also we use this for really lovely small, what I call like mini solo shows. So technically every 2 years, if you wanted to have a small solo show, we could give you one every 2 years in this room, which is quite nice. And that's on our second floor as well. And then this is our Dodge House gallery, which is more of like a traditional sort of retail looking gallery that's on the ground floor, has a big, beautiful storefront that faces onto Thomas Street. And then looking through those back doors, you can see into our founder's room dining area with some of our permanent collection held in the back room there. And that image was from the show that we just took down today, our Members Miniatures exhibition. This is one snapshot. This is also a Warren Jagger photo. Warren Jagger is a great architectural photographer who's a member of the club and who lent his expertise to do these photos for us some time ago. This is one of the very charming interiors of the cafe part of the club. So in this space, we do lunch on weekdays, and we also do a lot of special events. It really is a very magical place, and it's really fun. And then this is our bar. Originally constructed in the 1890s as the club's library, and then converted to better use as a bar in 2009. We also house a lot of our permanent collection here. In this image, you can see like the painting over the fireplace in this image is by George Barse, who did some of the murals at the Library of Congress. So we have a lot of fun things like that. And this room is like a rotating exhibition of our permanent collection, and just a wonderful warm place for people to come and enjoy camaraderie together. Again, in normal times when we have a lot of classes going on in the studio, we'll have coffee out here in the morning, and members will enjoy talking to each other before class as well. Like I said, we have about 70 classes and workshops a year. This is an image from one of Michelle Mazzone's pastel classes in our studio. Our studio was built in 2009, so it's basically brand new. We just put new lighting in it last year, all new studio lights, which are actually put in after this image, so the lighting's even nicer than it was in this shot. And most, like I said, are open exclusively to members and their spouses. And then when spaces allow, we also do let the general public take classes as well. Specifically in the summer, we do a lot of summer workshops, and those are typically open to non-members. And then now with Zoom, most of our Zoom classes are open to non-members as well. One of the great things that I always say about the art club is, excuse me, someone's driving by with very loud music on. So one of the great things I always say about the art club is that unlike some arts organizations, we do have a full-time dedicated gallery staff, which is quite nice. So it's not the sort of situation where member artists have to contribute time to be there. You're very welcome to volunteer at the club if you're a member, but for the most part, we have a great cafe staff that handles the cafe. We have a gallery staff that handles all the exhibitions, and then members volunteer on committees and volunteer, to help install shows and to help at openings and to do all kinds of different things like that. But it takes a lot of the pressure off of members in that way. Just returning to our lovely street scene here of the Providence Art Club. We are on social media. We're on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at PVD Art Club and on Twitter at PVD Art Club. My details are at the bottom here. And also you all received an email from me today, so you have my email there. Like I said, if you'd ever like to come for like a full tour, I'd be happy to walk you around the club and tell you all about our exciting and fascinating history. But I just want to give you this very brief overview before Nancy talks about the actual process of becoming a member. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen and I will let Nancy, Nancy, if you'd like to share your screen, you're very welcome to. The other thing I would say is that if you have questions while the presentation is going on, please put them in the chat and I'll be happy to ask them on your behalf, or we can do the questions at the end as well.
There, need to unmute. Thank you, Michael. I just want to say welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. So what we'll be doing is that first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our committee. Then I will be doing a PowerPoint, kind of giving you an overview of what the process is. Then members of the committee will talk about their personal criteria for jurying their own work and for also jurying a body of work for the applications that do come in. And then we'll have a question and answer period. So raise your hand so that when I call out your name, people will recognize actually your names are right there in front of you. So Ruth Clegg, this is our committee. Ruth Clegg, she's an exhibiting artist member. Claudia Anicelli is an arts professional. Craig Maston, exhibiting artist. Merle Manelli Poulton, she's an exhibiting artist. I'm not sure if Merle is here. Mimo Gordon Riley, exhibiting artist. Gretchen Dow Simpson, exhibiting artist. Anthony Tomaselli, exhibiting artist. And David Whitbeck, he is also an exhibiting artist. And so after the PowerPoint, each one will come back and they'll talk about their own, like I said, their own personal criteria for jurying applications as they come in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. Hold on a minute. Okay. Now you can all see this? Okay. So what does it take to become an exhibiting artist or arts professional member of the Providence Art Club? Well, it's not as scary as you might think. The Arts Qualifications Committee, we're all here to help you get through this task. You know, there are a lot of little bits and pieces to it in terms of getting your portfolio together and the application itself. Michael and his staff are also available to help with the process. But again, it's not as unnerving as it might seem. So there are two types of membership in this category. There's exhibiting artist member. And what is exhibiting artist? It's the fine arts. It's two-dimensional painting, pastel, printmaking, drawing, mixed media, everything that we know to be two-dimensional, three-dimensional, sculpture, glass, mixed media, assemblage, textile, jewelry, and then digital, photography, and computer-generated digital art. So if you want to apply for membership, you must have two sponsors. If you're an exhibiting artist or an arts professional, one of them must be an exhibiting artist of the Providence Art Club. If you don't know anyone from the Providence Art Club, we're able to provide, first we'll provide a list of members. If, like I said, if you're unable, if you don't know anybody at the Providence Art Club, we do have a process where we go through the membership committee and you can meet with the membership committee and we have a vetting process. So it's not impossible. The second is an arts professional application. And what that is, it includes architects, landscape, art educators, museum directors, curators, gallery owners, graphic designers, fashion designers, set designers, and art scholars. I'm sure that there are many more under that category. They're probably not all listed here. Arts, if you apply as an arts professional, you may also later change your status to exhibiting artist member if you choose to do that. So basically two very different applications, although the criteria is pretty much the same. So the evaluation criteria is here. So the overall impact, quality and consistency in your design and artistic vision within a body of work. We'll talk a little bit more about this as each committee member speaks about their process. But these are the basics. So design, originality and composition, technical proficiency, the use of your materials, craftsmanship, professional presentation. These are all really important to how you present your work and how we jury it as a body of work. Quality of presentation regarding a resume, digital images and actual work, and of course, framing. Professional experience, participation in professional juried exhibitions, galleries, awards, commissions, grants, fellowships, etc. However, I do want to say that the application is really based on the images. We look at this information. We have had artists who have applied that are self-taught. So don't think that you have to have all of these juried exhibitions under your belt, or commissions or grants or any of that. But if you do, it's helpful to have that information as part of your packet. So what I'm going to show you now is an example of what portfolios might look like. So this one is for an arts professional. And this just happens to be from Eric Dellin of Dellin Design. He's a graphic art studio. This gives an indication of the professionalism that he provided for his portfolio. So in his flash drive, he may have provided this on a flash drive. He may have provided it in person as part of his 5 pieces. So you can see the way that he framed it out. It's very clean. Here is another one from Dellin Design. And it basically shows what what he has done and, over the years, what is part of his portfolio. And most of it is, marketing and graphics. But again, it's all framed very nicely. It's very clean. And now we have Claudia Anicelli, who is a member of the committee. She's a textile and costume conservator with the MFA. And so this was part of her portfolio. Again, crisp photographs. Examples before and after. Beautiful photography. And again, a nice clean presentation. Then we go into an exhibiting artist. This is Ruth Clegg, who's both a photographer and printmaker. Always best, I feel, and I think I can speak for the committee, not to include your frames. Unless your frames are consistent across the board, we want to see the image. Nicely framed out. You get a real sense of consistency in her work, and that's what we're looking for. It's the voice of one artist. Sometimes we get applications where you see, now this is another exhibiting artist. This is Richard Harrington. He is a painter. But I started to say, sometimes you get applications where an artist will show several works, many of which are very disconnected. So it appears as though there are several artists who are submitting the work instead of just one. Here is an example of framing, just very clean. This is not to say that everybody frames in black or that everybody has to have a mat on their artwork. These are obviously pieces that are under glass. I do know that oil painters, some of them do not obviously frame their work. They're just wrapped, canvas wrap, I think, is that what it's called? This is the back of the piece. So, really it's the presentation that we're looking at. You would be very surprised at what we see. We do get pieces in where, there's staining on the mats. The framing is very sloppy. And so you really need to consider your presentation. It's as important as the pieces themselves. So what needs to be submitted? 5 original framed works ready for installation, your 10 to 30 individual JPEGs or TIFF images on a flash drive, resume, artist statement, press clippings, and new members must submit a completed PAC artist application with a signed disclaimer with your sponsors. All of this other stuff, care should be taken to make the best possible presentation to the committee. This is all we have to go by. So it's really important that you put your best work, your best face forward. We want to accept everybody that comes in, but sometimes some people make it a little bit impossible for us to do that because we are holding the standards pretty high. The arts qualification meets once a month. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go to I can't stop sharing, Michael. For some reason,
Let's see.
My pointer will not.
There you go. It's done. Everyone can see everyone now?
No, I can't.
You can still, maybe your screen may be
Hold on, let me see.
something.
There you go. Okay.
The great presentation, Nancy, very nice. If you have questions and you want to put them in the chat, you're welcome to.
Okay, so I think we'll start with the top of the list. Ruth, are you with us? Ruth Clegg,
Remember to unmute.
is she with us?
She
Because
is.
she was having difficulty before.
There she is.
She was having some difficulty. There she is. So this is Ruth Clegg. Okay, hi Ruth. So let's just talk a little bit about what your personal criteria is, but maybe for your own work when you critique your work, but also when we have applications come in.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're here. So that means you're interested in joining the art club, which is a great place. I think the first thing that I look at is the impact of the work and how it hits me. And I look for also the consistency of the quality, the technique, and of course, being a photographer, I am looking at the photography. And I think photography is really important because it is your language for presentation. And so I think the quality of the photographs are imperative, really good resolution, have consistent lighting, and especially consistent color. And just watch out for, if you do have reflective surfaces, you really need to take that reflection off. I'm not volunteering because I can't do that for this committee, but it can be really important to have a professional photographer take photographs of your work. I definitely look for storytelling qualities. And in that, I look for your curiosity and your depth of exploration and originality with your intent and your curiosity. And I really look also, I think, your presentation is important in how you present your physical work, but it's equally important how you present your written work, your portfolio, your resume, your letters. And I would say right down to, it's important to have it organized according to how you want us to see it, and put it in some kind of folder. Or some people have just brought stuff in and it's like paper put together and there's no rhyme or reason or rhythm to it. And it's like, wait a minute, would you apply for a job with this quality? Because it is a statement of who you are and what you think. So pretend it's a really big job you're applying for. And I think, the other important thing is show the joy in your work. Show that you have fun. That's what the art club is about, is learning and having fun and being able to present your work. So I think that's important. And I've been a member for over 30 years, and it's been a big, important part of my growth. So I hope that you all intend to present a fun and good portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Let's go to Claudia. Claudia, you remember seeing her work on the PowerPoint. Claudia Anicelli.
Hi, everyone. So I represent the arts professional on this committee, and Nancy included a few of my slides to give you an example of an area and a member who qualifies as an arts professional. I'm not an artist, but as a textile and costume conservator, my primary job over the years has been to care for the creations of the artist. So this is a profession that clearly works and fits into the arts professional membership level. On my application, I sent in a PowerPoint presentation as that best gave the committee a visual of my work. As my training has been a combination of science, art, and history, I may look at works of art a bit differently than some of the other members of the committee. But what's most important to me with reviewing the applications is overall quality of the work, the consistency. You don't want to see one or two amazing pieces within 20 that are subpar or not really wonderful. And then general talent, and that really does come through your portfolios. So I'd also just like to add that this committee's goal is really the success of the applicant. And the committee is very supportive to help people with looking at the work before, if they wanted some critiques, and supportive afterwards as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Craig Maston.
Hi, everyone. For me, and I think for the benefit of both the Arts Qualification Committee and you as an applicant, having a history of having entered your artwork in juried exhibitions is useful. It's obviously not an absolute requirement, but I think it's really a useful thing to have done. The position is actually exhibiting artist member is what you're applying for, applying for, and when you submit your work to juried exhibitions, you have various opportunities to show your work to be both rejected and accepted, which is really the mark of any artist, to have both of those things happen to you. And I think that experience can help you to know how you what's required in being an exhibiting artist, to how you stand in relationship to your peers, and have reasonable expectations of what the committee expects of you, and when it would be a good time to apply. I think that getting honest critiques and advice from other artists that you know and your sponsors at the club is a particularly useful thing to have, to give you an idea of how you might how your application might be viewed. To have a body of work, I think, is important. We tend to be very ecumenical in our acceptance of work, in all media, from traditional to modern to experimental. All of that is we're open to all types of work. And certainly, I think visiting the art club and our show, as many shows as you can, also can give you a good idea to become familiar with what kind of work what kind of exhibiting artists we are here.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, how about Mimo Gordon Riley? You're muted, Mimo.
Unmute. Okay, I'm up here at the top. That's what I said. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that people have the interest in joining the club. It is a great place to be part of the group of artists who are there. And for me, it's less about the kind of art, but more about whether it feels honest and consistent. It's really you that we want to see. And I can't like every piece of art that is shown, but I can respect it for what it is, and that it really comes from the artist. So and if you're showing 5 pieces, it's a good idea to look at them together and think, do they make a body of work? So it might be an interesting new creative idea, but if it's not consistent and presented in a way I can believe it won't come across. So I think that's kind of what I mean, I've thought about it a lot, and I think that's kind of, it's honest work, and that can be in many forms. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimo. Anthony Tomaselli.
Hello, everybody. My one thing that I have to say is make great art, and you get in and present it fabulously, as you were to present it to a gallery, any gallery. because that's what we do. We show art along with the community and everything else we do here. It's a great place. I've been here since 1995. We have a great committee, and I've been on this qualifications committee for quite a while. And I think, Craig, we've been on together for a while, right? And I'm going to say something. It used to be easier to get in as an artist member. And the bar has been significantly raised incrementally over the last 10 years. And the work shows when you come to our open shows. They're well attended, and we get quite a good review from the outside. So make great art and present it well. Don't kid yourself, work hard. If you really, there's so many different levels of people out there. So if you're unsure, it's okay if we say no, you get another shot. You can always join as a patron, take classes, improve your skills, get an idea and a feel for how you'd like to present yourself as an artist. So don't be discouraged if you do get the no, but don't not apply because you fear the no. All right, done.
That's a good point. Very good point. Let's go to David Whitbeck. David, you're muted. You're still muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. What they said. What I look for most, I'm all about the work. I don't care about the other stuff, the exhibition record, all that sort of stuff. If the work is good, it should stand on its own. And the kinds of things I look for are originality and a consistency of vision. A lot of times we'll get people who show us work that we can do. I can do flowers, I can do portraits, I can do landscapes. I would much rather see somebody that does one thing particularly well than show me a range of a hodgepodge of stuff. Presentation is something also that we have every now and then we reject somebody just on the basis because the work's not presented professionally or consistently. Another personal bugaboo I have, and it's because the way I work, often, I always look for a clear center of interest in a piece of visual art. Sometimes I'll see a painting of just this wonderful trees and a path, and you get around the end of the path and there's nothing there. So I think a clear center of interest is one thing I look for. And recent work too, I don't think that's been mentioned yet. Sometimes we get work that we don't now know how old it is or how long ago it's been produced. So it'd be nice to see a consistent body of work that's been done the last couple of years at least. So we know where you are now as an artist, not where you used to be. That's pretty much it for me.
Okay, thank you, David. Gretchen, did you have anything that you wanted to add? Gretchen. You're muted. You're muted. Okay. Go ahead, Gretchen.
Up
There you
until
go.
now I've Jim Baird, but now I'm Gretchen.
Okay.
I haven't been on the committee for very long, and I have a short thing I'd like to say. Is just I'm drawn to a piece of art that speaks to me right away, with form and color, and then details start to be seen. Balancing of shapes is important to me. I'm interested in art that shows a different way of seeing a common subject. And I'm sorry it isn't any longer than this, but I'm looking forward to getting more involved with the committee
Thank you, Gretchen.
as we go along.
Thank you.
You're
So
doing
I think that
Nancy.
just from my perspective, I pretty much echo what everyone says here. It's really, for me, it's all about consistency and having one voice in your work and being being able to go back and look at your work with a critical eye, and really being, kind of being hard on yourself before you put that portfolio together. Look at your work very carefully. And the questions that I would ask are, as an artist, what do you hope to convey and express through your work? Number one. And after you've finished that piece, do you feel as though you've conveyed that vision? What is the motivation behind your work? So I think that, if anything, I can really say the consistency is really important, and that goes through to your framing. So your framing is not all over the place. Keep it neat, keep it tight. Don't show us everything you can do. I think it was David that said that. Don't show us, well, I can do portraits, I can do landscapes, I can do still lifes, I can do it all. Do what you do best and what you know, and what really speaks to you. What is your, what really resonates with you as a person and as an artist. So now I'd like to open it up to any questions you might have. I'm sure that there are some questions out there. So if you want to raise your hand, or if you want to put it in the chat, we can do that too. Oh, Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And hello to everyone, and thanks for doing this. Michael, thanks for setting this up. I've got a couple of questions, and they're ones that I think I must be confused enough about, because I have asked this several times. And that is, given that we are talking about a specific voice and some consistency and so forth in one's images, must those images therefore be within certain categories? Recognizing what David said about, you don't want something that's all over the place that the committee has to look at, but perhaps, I'm making this up, a fine drawing leads in some way to painting or sculpture or something like that. May all of those different medias be presented, or should you focus on one specific category? Thank you.
This is a very good question, and we've had a lot of discussion about this. And Anthony, I know that I believe you and Mimo had a conversation around this whole subject. So I want to let you both kind of speak to this. I think what we came away with was that if you were to apply, if you were a sculptor, you're also a painter, that it would be necessary for you to submit in both those mediums so that we could see exactly what you were doing in both. Does that make sense? I mean, if you're a painter and you're a sculptor, is that what you're saying? I think you're muted. Anthony, why don't you, if you wanted to address that while she's looking to unmute.
I just want to clarify that the application for an artist member is broken down into categories, and you have to apply in one. And I'm not sure if we group them into those three categories or if we have individual painting, pastel. But most of us are seasoned in one area. And in order to keep the quality high, we just changed this policy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to show paintings, you apply as a painter. If you want to show sculpture, you apply with sculpture. You can apply to two categories, but you're required to put two separate, not physical applications in, but portfolios together, not just two pieces of sculpture.
All right,
You need to be proficient in you apply in.
all right.
And then if you apply in painting, you cannot show sculpture until you get, if I'm not mistaken, because this is
That's
relatively new.
That's correct. Nancy,
Okay, so that means as a painter, one could submit images that are both water media and oil. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying? That it doesn't have to be one or the other? It can be painting. And
painting, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So my second question, if I may,
Yeah.
is what percentage over the course of a year, what percentage of those who apply are accepted?
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, 90% easy, right?
Well,
Okay.
it varies quite a bit. I mean, we've had months where we had 3 applications and everyone got rejected, and we've had months we had 5 applications and everyone got in. So
Yeah.
that's a very good question. I mean, I don't have that
I'd
statistic.
have to go back, we'd have to go back and get those numbers for you, Nance.
Yeah.
Well, not necessary to do that, but I think as those of you on the committee just sort of think back, you say, well, we probably accept half of the people who apply. Or, I'm not looking really to keep, a data sheet. I was just curious.
Ruth, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to refer to myself as it showed me as a photographer and a printmaker.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an oddball in that I'm a professional photographer and I've had a professional photography business for 38 years. And I initially applied as a photographer, and printmaking became part of my what I do. But my business is photography, so I think that is kind of makes it a little different. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say as well that in terms of you do watercolors, you do oils, there are only 5 physical pieces you're showing. Pick one, pick what you're best at instead of 2 lucky watercolors and it's only 5 pieces. You got to have 5 good of one or the other. That's my opinion.
Okay. Craig, you're muted. You're muted. Still muted. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that there's 5 physical pieces that we'll look at, and I think David's point is well taken. But of the 30 or so slides that you submit, if you do work as a painter, as I do in water, and many people do, I think, in watercolors, oils, and other media, one thing we would look for, I think, is a high technical proficiency in all of the things that you're submitting, and a kind of consistency of style, a kind of thumbprint that shows your hand consistently throughout that body of work. So it sort of hangs together as a body of work, even though you're working in watercolors, oils, pastels, and so on. That you want to make sure that you're showing, if you're going to do that, make sure there's good proficiency in all of those media.
Right. I think that as I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing, the committee and other artists and people from the club, I think what we're talking about is your signature style. Now, some people may just be growing into their signature style. I mean, if I look at the work of Gretchen Dow Simpson, it's unmistakably Gretchen Dow Simpson, or Mima Gordon Riley, or in Nancy Rowett, I'm thinking of Al Albrechtsen. There's no getting around it. When you see an Al Albrechtsen painting, it's Al Albrechtsen. So, like I said before, we'll get applications where it will look like this person, and then, they're showing another 2 slides and it looks like a different artist altogether. So that's what that's what we mean when we say, be consistent in your work so that we're looking at one artist, one voice, so that we can jury it based on the consistency of the whole portfolio.
I think one way of thinking about it, if it makes it any more helpful for anyone, is something that we've said a few times at different meetings, is if you're applying to be an exhibiting artist member, the idea is that you're going to exhibit. It's not just that you're going to show us one painting once in a while. Like, the idea is, the whole reason to apply is so that you can take part in the exhibitions. And so you should think of your portfolio as like a mini exhibition. Like, if you were going to have an exhibition, what would that look like? And an exhibition should be consistent, like it has all these sort of standards. So like Craig said, I think earlier on, a great way to see what consistency looks like is come to one of our 2 or 3 person exhibitions we have, which we have every 3 weeks. You can come once a month and see a different set of exhibiting artists and see how they prepare their work, and that can give you a sense of how to put together a presentation that would be consistent in the eyes of the committee, I think.
Okay.
Nance,
Yeah,
I just want to
Anthony.
say that oftentimes your sponsor will help you as well. That's why one of the sponsors is an exhibiting artist member, and they can help you walk through this. They can look at your work and help you organize it as well. Because it sounds more daunting, even as much as I've exhibited, every time I apply to a gallery to get in, it's daunting. And I'm very seasoned. I've been doing this a long time. And so I understand the daunting part of it. So don't be discouraged again, and use your resources. And we'll help you at the club as well.
And Anthony brought up a very good point earlier. If you're not feeling comfortable right now about your portfolio, then I would suggest filling out an application for a patron member. And then you can build your portfolio. You'll be talking to other artists. You will be talking to instructors. You can get more feedback on that.
Yeah,
And
take
then
classes.
Take classes. And then when you're ready, you have a whole group of colleagues that you're able to run things by. So that's one way.
Yeah, and another thing, if you do it that way, being at the club, you will be inspired. When you start taking classes, you just paint more, or draw more, or sculpt more, or print more, or whatever. So that it's amazing what happens here. It's like a college. It's a college with a bunch of old people. Not old people, but it's the energy. Not Michael, but the rest of us. But the energy is amazing. It's crazy. You'll paint, you'll draw, you'll build your portfolio. Anyway, if you're uncomfortable.
Marguerite.
I have a question about the resume. I actually, in another life, I used to actually guide people on writing resumes for corporate jobs. I know that's changed a lot since I was doing that. But how is this resume? What's distinctive about writing an art resume? Are you including like all the courses that you took? I mean, all the workshops? How much?
No, we're looking for education, obviously, where you went to school. If you took workshops that were meaningful, yes, but I mean, I think more so your exhibition history, if there is, and it doesn't have to be that you show MFA, but I mean, even if you're showing local, if you're represented by a gallery, that kind of thing.
The resume isn't going to be a substitute for the work. Ultimately, we've had a number of people who had very impressive resumes and who were rejected on the basis of the work not being good.
It's really the work that stands on its own.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So
also,
if I may, it starts with the 5 originals. If you can't get us by the 5 originals,
Yeah.
and then there's the 10 to 20, 30 JPEGs that support the 5 originals. So those 5 originals matter. And they're the key. They're the key that unlocks the door.
And believe me, we have some pretty heated, in the past, we've had some pretty heated debates And so, it's not always hands down or unanimous. But we do have a lot of conversation over a lot of different topics. And go ahead, Marguerite.
Also sort of related to that, I've been thinking a lot about as an artist statement, to make sense of the work that I'm doing now. It really makes sense where the part that art played in my life, like all along before I even joined the art club, even though I'm not trained as an artist. So should that be part of like sort of the story of yourself as an artist or becoming an artist? Is that part of your artist statement?
Does somebody want to speak to that? One of the committee members?
I would think
Personally,
that-
well, some people give us their whole life story from the first crayon drawing that their mother put on the refrigerator with a magnet. And no, I think an artist statement should be just about briefly why you do what you do or something. We don't need to know your life story. Just 2, 3, 4 paragraphs is plenty for me. Keep it short and sweet.
You don't need to get all philosophical and all that stuff. Claudia?
I just want to say that when you're looking at your resume or your artist statements, think about the highlights. I mean, if you've studied art when you were in college somewhere, or you've studied with someone significant during your life, I mean, those are things that it's nice to present to us. So keep it focused and let your passion come out and your training come out in your resume as well. And, that usually goes along with your work.
Mima?
I think it's important. I mean, sometimes people don't have a big exhibition history, and really talking about what their passion is and how they came to that is also an important part of this. I don't think there are any actual set rules. I mean, we're trying to lay out what will be, but I think mostly what people have said, the good work, showing the passion, having a consistency. I was just thinking about the consistency because in my studio right now, I am doing something different every day. I can't imagine that people would look at it and say, this is a Mimo Gordon Riley. So I have to, I'm compassionate about that. But I also think that when you're applying for something, you have to show a consistency.
Ruth?
You're not experimenting in that.
One of the things is if you put your work out, I think Anthony said, lay out your pieces. Somebody said it from the committee, lay out your pieces and look at them. I think a couple of things is, do I love it? Am I passionate about this? And transfer those pieces to the wall and pretend you're walking in to look at them, or walk out of the room and then walk back in and feel the impact. And if you don't feel the impact, go back to work and really just start. It's got to sing with you, because then we can feel when you're being nervous in how you put things together. Intuitively, we can feel it. So really love what you're doing and feel good about it. And if Nancy said, if you don't feel ready, don't put yourself through that. Take a deep breath, step back, and think about what you need to do to get ready and ask somebody.
The committee does meet every month too, and you can apply as many times as you want, over and over and over again, depending on how much you can take.
And there's no application fee.
Yeah, no application fee.
That's right, Nancy.
Does the committee give feedback? Does the committee give feedback to the person who applies?
Yeah, yes, usually what happens is, well, if you're accepted, you're accepted, right? But the committee does give feedback. We each have a form that we fill out. It's nothing really formal, but each committee member does jot down their little notes, and then I get those notes and then I will put those, that feedback into a letter. So, yeah, I mean, we know how important that is. You know, how do artists expect to grow unless you have that feedback? It's really important.
Thanks.
That's what I think. That's what I think about that exhibiting is all. It's not entering exhibitions per se that's important. It's from all your influence and getting feedback from other people about your work. And when you enter shows, you get an idea of how you stand in relationship to your peers. When you have an opportunity to talk to other artists about your work, you get feedback about how you stand. And what we're trying to do here is to give you some feedback as to what we're looking for in terms of what are the criteria to be accepted as artist members into this particular club. Don't underestimate, as Nancy said, to enter as a patron member that doesn't require the portfolio, but has all the other benefits of the club, which all of us, I think, find are a big part of being a part of the Providence Art Club. The classes, for instance, that Anthony talked about, it's not maybe unique, but one of the wonderful things about the classes, the art club, is you have people that are trying out new media that they may not have experienced before, and all levels of experience, from people that have never picked up a brush to practicing artists of great reputation, side by side. So you have a real opportunity in those classes to meet a wide variety of people in the club, from a master practitioners of their craft in that particular medium, to people that are just beginning. So you can find you're looking over the shoulders and getting to know people, all sorts of people in the club by taking those classes. If you're not familiar with the club, if you're new to the area, not familiar with the club, it's a wonderful way of being able to get to understand and get feedback about what the club is looking for, to be able to make it a shorter step into becoming an exhibiting artist.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's, well spoken. Does anybody else have any questions or anything that they would like to add? Hello, yes.
Annette, do you have?
do. I do if I could.
Oh, sure.
It's Ronnie DZL. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I've been listening. I'm wondering how eccentric we can get with some of this artwork.
How eccentric, you said?
Yeah, so is there a line that you don't go over with the art club as far as art is concerned, or subject matter? To be a little.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I painted just about everything on the earth of every subject. That's been my life forever, from out of high school, out of college, through California and back. I'm the one that did the whales in Boston. So that's a big piece right there that you might have noticed.
Can't see it, but
Not anymore. Yeah, with all the buildings going up, but that came down. So.
What do you mean by eccentric?
Well, I've painted realistic. I've done abstracts. I've done a lot of airbrush type of works. I taught a lot of schools and things as well. And I feel at my age now, it's my time to just get the things out of my head that I've always wanted to. And it might not be something that somebody could kind of grasp it, in an abstract way, something that hasn't been done before. Using multi to do that, like I'm talking.
We have several multimedia artists and
Right.
Abstract painters.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I think more and more abstract painters are becoming members of the art club, which is really wonderful to see.
Yeah.
I personally, and I think I can speak for the committee, we would never dissuade you from applying because you thought that maybe it would be a little bit avant-garde or too, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We're not here to censor anyone.
Right.
That's
Well-
what we are. We're all artists.
With that said, I would have to sit down with someone over there because I've done so many different systems, you know, as far as painting and sculpting, that I'd have to limit what I'd show you, of course,
Yeah.
over the years. So I'm saying, okay, what would fit best? I'd have to show you lots of things that I've done over the years, you know, 45, almost 50 years of painting,
Mhm.
to show you what I'm thinking about for the
Mhm.
next stage, doing series. I've always done series. That, to me, is where you basically hone in on the detail of that particular style that you're working on. So I hang on to that to make sure that people understand it wasn't a mistake. It
Right.
wasn't a one and done. So I move on with at least 5 to 10 in the series.
I think that we could certainly make that happen. And anyone else who was on this talk,
Right.
if you are not a member of the art club and you would like to speak to one of the committee members, we
Right.
can go through Michael, and Michael can match you up, just not match you up, but you know what I'm saying, we're not on match here. But I think that we can make that happen so that there can be a dialogue. Let's
Right.
open up the conversation here.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Because I want to do the right thing. I'd like to be sponsored and, you know, and I want something that would fit and be comfortable within the club.
I think you might be coming from the idea of what the club was when I first joined it, and
Yeah.
not to offend anybody there, because I'm getting a bunch of blue-haired old East Side ladies who were Sunday painters. And it's not like that anymore.
I'm a blue-haired lady.
Well, I'm a white-haired old man, so I can get away with it now. But that's, you know, I think a lot of people still have that perception of the club.
Yeah.
And I know personally.
Well, true. It's, yeah, there's a
There have been
status quo, you
there have
know?
been portfolios that we've looked at and said, oh, God, I hate that, but it's beautifully done. So, you know, so I wouldn't be afraid. I would pick 5 of your most recent pieces and submit.
Well,
that.
again, which 5 of the different groups and categories that
Well,
I've painted?
whatever you're doing now, a consistent group of pictures. You say you work in series. Pick a series. Pick one.
Right. Yeah.
Mimo?
But I think picking a series, if it was done 10 years ago, is not a great idea.
Well, yeah, the things that I'm doing now
It's important
are
that it needs, that it's current for you.
the things that I'm doing current now are abstract.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
but I think that we can certainly, you know, going through Michael, if you want to have a conversation with Michael, and then Michael can give you some direction as to who you can speak with.
Sure.
Again, I put that out to anybody on this talk.
Yeah.
Because we know, I mean, you know, we've all been there. And I think, you know, like, well, I think Anthony said, you know, when you're getting ready, it doesn't matter how much experience you have.
Right.
When you're getting ready for a show, you're nervous and you've got butterflies just as much as anybody else. Okay. So we're all in the same boat together. We're all in this big creative boat together.
Absolutely.
Annette Dunkelman, do you have a question? I saw you had your hand up earlier.
You're muted, Annette.
You're muted. There you go. Oh, no, you're muted again. There you go.
Okay, thanks. I was curious, as a photographer, for the 5 that you were going to put in that were framed, should they be of the same subject matter? Because photography is a little bit different than painting. And,
you know, personally, they don't have to be the same subject matter. It doesn't have to be the same subject. But I think that I don't know if you work in, again, the gentleman before you was talking about, you know, in series, it doesn't mean that it has to be the same subject matter. But as long as we're seeing your thumbprint on it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It has to show, well, this is Annette Dunkelman's work.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you. And one other thing, if you don't mind, for the artist statement, how long should that be?
Doesn't have to be long,
No,
like half a page to a page.
Okay.
yeah,
We do read it. We will, like, we
No.
do read it, so
we
don't
read them
make it
out
really.
loud. Yeah, keep it simple, keep it from the heart. And like I said, you don't need to get all philosophical or flowery about it. You know, it just needs to come from you and how you feel about your art and your process.
Just be honest.
All right.
Be honest. And when you read those things, some people write pages,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't read them.
yeah, we don't like pages.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm in a gallery or something, I just don't read them.
It's tough.
Sometimes it just seems like a snow job, you know, just.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
I was going to say, the only thing major value I see of the artist statements is, and the statements from your sponsors are, it is a club. And so for general membership, we're trying to get, we want to have people that we want to have a sense of the person, to give a general sense of you as a person is what we're looking for in that. But as far as this, the qualification for exhibiting artist membership, I think most of us are talking about how it's the work that has to speak for itself.
Mhm.
If you're going to read a novel, it's the novel that's going to make the difference, not what anybody says in the preface to the novel. You either like the novel or you don't. And what anybody else says about it is not going to make the difference. The work has to stand for itself. As far as, so that's a major criteria for the artist membership. But the artist statement, that kind of stuff, is to give us a general sense that you're interested in the club and you have some idea of what the club is about and what we're trying to do, and that so we have a sense of who you are as a person.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank
You know, I can say from my own perspective that this art club is just a very special place, and especially during this time of COVID, how many people have come to me and said, "This art club has saved my life."
Bearable.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Just being among your peers and being able to talk about what you love, and being in an atmosphere where you can share, and really feel a part of something that is important. And so I think, you know, that big green door looks very intimidating, but once you get inside, it's like coming home. Are there any other questions? Okay, I don't want to miss anybody.
Thank you.
Wait, I have one here. Rochelle? I love diverse work and diverse people. Is there outreach to the community for people who don't know members? That's a really good question, because this is something that the Board of Managers, this is really one of our goals. We also believe in diversity and outreach to the community. Within the past year, we have, I think really within the past year and a half or so, we've made more inroads in terms of reaching out to other organizations, providing, we have a scholarship exhibition that we do now. This is what, our third year we're going into, Michael,
Yes.
with our scholarship fund.
We're also doing a special community show this spring. So that's going to be another thing that you can look out for, Rochelle. And then in terms of people who don't necessarily know a member, I know that that's something that we often get asked about, that people are sort of intimidated, like, if I don't know someone, what do I do? But now we can actually go through the membership committee, and membership committee, without you necessarily knowing an individual at the club, they can help to move your application along, and the executive committee will accept the application with the support of the membership committee in lieu of an individual person. So that's something that is also available now. So we are trying to sort of break it down a little bit, make it a little more accessible.
Yeah. I'm going to share my screen for one last slide. Hold on a minute. See it?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so that was easy, right? That was easy. So if you need more information, you can certainly contact Joan McConaughey is our membership chair. Her email is here, joanmcconaughey@gmail.com. Or you can reach out, as Michael said, to Michael Rose, our gallery manager, at his email, or certainly you can call and speak to Michael at the art club. You can go to providenceartclub.org if you want to know anything about membership fees and anything else regarding membership. And again, if you have, if anybody on this Zoom wants to be in touch with any of our committee members, please do. We're eager to help. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been a pleasure. And I hope we will see you around the club.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.